now with the chair, Rubilin, and then testimony. Diyan, okay na lang kayo dyan. Sige po, eto na.
Okay, magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Sino nakakaano ng Tagalog? Taas kamay. Tagalog.
Konti lang.
Sige. Konti lang, isang ano ng supot. Sige.
1 kilo.
Okay, so the promotion, this is our ecumenical response, no? The promotion of church people's response and the Kapatirang Simbahan para sa Bayan. Strongly believe that when these things happened in 2016 or almost 8 years ago, we believe that there is something wrong with what is going on. And to speak up against the killings is imperative and necessary as church people and as human beings, of course. So the ecumenical community and human rights advocates come together, no, discern together, study this kind of situation that is happening in our kababayan, in our communities. So because majority of the people in the urban poor communities are being threatened, illegally arrested, and killed in the most brazen way because of this war on drugs policy. So in October 2016, we formed this network called Rise Up for Life and for Rights. Before, no, so June, July, newspapers and television news are flooded with blood. Diba? So remembering those days are talaga. So we believe that there's some. So what we did is that as a campaign people and as church people, we tried to have this signature campaign, lighting candles, where places where we feel there are lots of people who are keep being killed, but there is no one who wants to speak. When we had this candle lighting in Baclaran, wherein Bishop Pabilio spoke in the church, we were outside. We are asking for people to sign this. Stop, just calling for stop the killings. Some people signed their commit their approval, but there are lots who are not approve of what we are doing. So we can just imagine those years. So, but we believe killings must be stopped. So, and we said that it's not signature campaign, prayer, it's not enough. So in October 2016, we formed this Rise Up for Life and for Rights. The network resonates, stop the killings and stop killing the poor. At that time, in 2018, Albayalde, hopefully next week he will join the hearing in the House of Congress. At that time, 2018, they admitted that 4,251 were killed in war on drugs. That was 2018. But in the statistics now, let's have some rewind, no? So, Duterte war on drugs rewind. So these are some of the pronouncements wherein we can read, we can Google this, we can malalaman natin na talagang he is the one, no? He is the one who nag-utos, no? Yan, sabi nga niya, if you love your job, I'll give you one. Kill all the drug addicts. And then he said, help me kill addicts and let kill addicts every day. Imagine, presidenteng bastos, di ba? Tapos sabi niya, the ones who died in Bulacan, were in 2017, 2018. 32 were killed. And what did he say? In a massive, sabi niya, that is good. We could kill just another 32 every day. Then maybe we could reduce what ails this country. Sinabi pa niya, Hitler massacred 3 billion Jews. There's 3 million drug addicts. Sabi niya, I'd be happy to slaughter them. So those were the public pronouncement. At sasabihin lang niya, joke lang yun. Diba? So, we said that the government of Duterte's war on drugs has caused one of the worst human rights crises in our country, killing thousands of the poor, leaving thousands of grieving widows, mothers, and orphan children. People in the urban poor communities have been slaughtered and slain in staggering numbers. One of the mothers said, during the time, I hope you heard the news about the son of Remulla, diba? Sabi ni nanay sa Bilita, if the suspect is rich, kung ang suspecha daw, kung ano daw tungkol dito sa drug ay mayaman, they will be set free. Diba? Malaya siya. But if they are poor, natin siya makikita. They end up dead on the street. Sinabi to ng isang nanay nung because diba, our experience is that when this thing happened, the mothers and the community are beginning to becoming aware of what is happening. And when this news happened, they are the one who are telling us, oh, di ba? Mayaman, nakalaya. Pero bakit kami? Mga anak namin, mga asawa namin. Because we are poor. Andun, nasa kalsada. And we had also experienced during that time, 2016, 2017, may victims sa street, dead. No? So those kind of things. Yeah, drug-related killings according to media and human rights groups around 25,000 to 30,000. So kasi yung mga iba-ibang mga data doon, found dead bodies, killed by syndicate. But ito, yung inamin mismo ng government, it's around 6,000. The exact number siya is 6,252. So imagine, ang data na yan ay from 2016 to May 2022. But in the previous slides, sabi ni during the time of Albayalde, it's 4,251. So the government has this real numbers website, pero ngayon yata it's not active anymore. But during those times, nagpupush sila ng mga data, the real numbers, and no evidence, no accompaniment data with those kind of real numbers. So we don't know if that's real. Yeah, so these are some of the victims. These are some of the named victims, and there are lots whom we do not know. And these are some of the victims, mga bata, youth, and later, some of our families will share to us. So these are some of the victims wherein Rise Up was able to document, talk to the family, and some of them until now we can connect with them. So we say, justisya sa lahat ng biktima ng pamamaslang. That is our call up to now. And so, with that kind of situation, we were guided by 3 R's. You know, for church people, we tried, what can we do with this kind of situation? It's not just signature campaign, but we have to make some programs. So we were able to set up this approach, so respect for human rights, wherein we do community human rights education. No? We coordinate with legal services together with the National Union of People's Lawyers. And we also have this Restore Redeem, because we believe redemption and rehabilitation of the people who are into drugs can be treated, because it is a health issue, it's a medical concern. And the last one is Rise Up. We were able to reach out to families because we believe the families, the victims' families, can rise up, and they can tell their own stories about what's happening in their communities. And so these are our former pictures. So that was 2016 when we tried to reach out also with the church people. At that time, we do not have families who are ready to speak up. So we try to discern, we try to have this reflection, what is happening in our community, and we try to invite church people, both clergy and lay people, to join us in this call. Yeah, we have this also, that was in 2016, 2017, that's our style of human rights education also, the exhibit 1. So, after a year or almost after 8 months, so working with the victims' families has been the main focus of Rise Up. We began working with the victims' families in urban poor communities to document and to visit the families whose loved ones have been killed. So they joined us, and now we are together in documenting, in doing some services to the communities. Yeah, this is our first Christmas gathering in the community, wherein we were invited, the families, and we had this Christmas gathering. Yeah. And this is and since then, in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, up to this time, we're able to hold All Saints Day, or in Tagalog we call that Undas. So that's our yearly gathering of families wherein we collectively had this prayer, remembering our loved ones who have been killed by this war on drugs. It's been now just like church people program, no? Because that's the time wherein the families can express, and then it's a sort of psychosocial activity also with the families. So that was in 20s. And we held this in the Roman Catholic Church. So every year we try to coordinate with local congregations, churches, both Protestant and Roman Catholic. And of course, during those times in 2020, the COVID, so we also tried to have this education program with the families, and we held that in the communities wherein we were able to engage, and we have this communion with the families of victims. Yeah, we also have this medical and dental services. Ayan, this is our photo exhibit that was in 2019. So we work with some of the photojournalists who call themselves night crawlers. We had this collaboration wherein we have this photo exhibit in the schools, in churches, before the pandemic. Ayan. And then in June 14, we had this press conference in regard to the International Criminal Court decision wherein there's a probable cause that there is crimes against humanity committed in the Philippines. So we had this press conference together with Attorney Neri and PC of the National Union of People's Lawyers. They are the pro bono lawyers of Rise Up. And of course, since then, we were able to gather also this family, because they are saying war on drugs is not only our problem. There are lots of problems in our country. So since then, some of them joined in the people's mobilization, and of course we had this discussion, especially the socio-political economic situation of the community, and they joined this activity, People's Zona, or People's State of the Nation. That was in 2021. Yeah, and some of them also became speakers during the mobilization as part of our rising. Yeah. So this is in People's Zona 2023, and there is a particular call for the International Criminal Court to pursue the investigation and held the people most responsible, or the person most responsible, to be accountable to this kind of problem. Yeah, this is our All Souls Day in 2021. We held that in Commission on Human Rights Education, Commission on Human Rights. So this in 2022, we were able to hold this activity in a order of Dominican Sisters. Yeah, and we also have, as part of our journey, some of the law students are interested to know what's happening in this war on drugs. So we had this sharing of Rise Up Mothers with law students, and their present situation and their demand for justice is being shared. So since 2019, 2020, 2022, 2023, we had the opportunity wherein the Rise Up Mothers joined the lobbying in the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva, Switzerland. Two of our mothers were able to participate with the help of the ecumenical community. So they joined the team in the lobbying in the United Nations Human Rights Council. So that's why we have this activity for us to share to the world, no, that investigation is being done in regard to the killings in our country. And this is the last year, we had this collective Zoom viewing wherein the appeal of the Philippine government to stop the investigation because domestic mechanism is doing fine, but we believe that it's not. So that's why in last year, in July 2023, the International Criminal Court decided that the investigation must be continued. So the families were happy to hear that. And we had this indoor activity and we had this outdoor activity in July. And this is our message to the new government, to the new administration, actually not new. So justice for all the victims of Marcos Duterte human rights violations. And lastly, Rise Up Mother says, we want a society that cares for the poor, pursues social justice through employment, just wages, decent housing, social services, and not killings. So that's our journey with Rise Up. Your Honor.
So now we will be listening to the testimonies. You know, we do not know them and they do not know us before. So we do not also know the location. We were all unprepared to this specific crisis that happened to us. So what we did is whenever there's news that somebody was killed there, we don't even have Google Maps because in urban poor community, sometimes you will get lost also if you will use Google Maps. You just ask questions to the people from one person to another, and then until we found them. So this is our common story. Sometimes we climb up to the wall and go down to the creek just to listen to the testimony of a mother who would tell us why my son was killed. So I think it is also a gift for church that when we visit, because we do not know what to say, because if under the most grieving situation, what do you do when you listen to a mother who's crying and weeping and then will tell us, who are you? And then we will tell them, we are from church people and we just wanted to sympathize with you. We came here. If you want to pray with you, we will do that. And then the mother will be saying, that is what we need. So when we went back, we were received. And then until we were received by the community, by the families. And here are the families who would share their testimonies. As Rubilin said, they're not just number. They're not just statistics. They have stories to tell and their faces to share and vision and dreams to share. And then the question of what do we do from here and where do we go from here. So they will be sharing to you their story, and we'll start with Jane, and then with Shira and Anel Yore.
My name is Jane, and giving testimonies is like first time, always the first time, because it is very tragic. I became member of Rise Up for Life and for Rights on 2018, but my husband was killed on March 20, 2017 by a riding in tandem, or what they call vigilante. There is no case, there is no local case, because they said that there is no witness. Even though there are lots of witnesses, but because they are afraid, that's why they will not help. No one wants to go to court and say that this is what happened. I saw your husband killed, shot. Every time I remember those days, it is like a first time when we give testimonies. But we are not victim. Hindi kami mananatiling biktima. We want justice kahit na we know that there is no justice here in the Philippines. Of course, by the help of church people, different organizations, media, journalists who support to us, we fight and we believe that soon justice will come to every families. They say that they call us EJK family, War on Drug family, because we are already a big family. And we are very thankful that there are lots of people listen to us, and not only listen to us, but they have hearts, they have their knowledge on how what they will do to help the victims of this so-called war on drugs. Of course, we are very afraid because Duterte is a very powerful person, and we are poor, but we want to tell our stories. We want to tell the whole world that this is what happened in the Philippines, and we need your help, we need your support, and we believe that ICC, someday that justice will soon come out. Thank you.
I am Shira Escudero, sister of EJK victim Ephraim Escudero. I'll share a short story about how we lost my brother. It was almost 7 years ago when Ephraim left our house. It was September 19, 2017 when he left our house. That's the last time we saw him alive. And then he was riding his motorcycle. He just told the people in our house that he'll just go to our cell phone repair shop, but he never came back. So we searched for him for 5 days. We sought for help for the LGU, police, the barangay, the police, local police in San Pedro, Laguna, but they never helped us. They never mobilized. They never sent their forces to help us look for my brother. So just by that time, we already felt helpless. Like they do not even value his life. He's lost, and they just told my mother, "Baka natokhang." They said maybe he was tokhang, or yeah, you're familiar with hang. So by that time, I know we will receive nothing. We will receive no help from them. So we kept looking. We went to different cities and municipalities. The barangay officers helped us, but the police never extended their help. So after it took us 5 days before we were able to find my brother. And the worst part is we found out about him in a local newspaper or tabloid. It says there, dalawang bangkay ng lalaki natagpo ang patay sa magkaibang lugar sa Pampanga. It says 2 men found in different separate place in Pampanga. So we're from San Pedro, Laguna, and he was left dead in Pampanga. It's 100 kilometers away from our house. He was dumped on a patch of grass, with his face facing the ground, 3 gunshot wounds, his head wrapped with packaging tape. He was hog-tied, his hands behind his back, his feet tied with packaging tape as well, and he was bleeding, his head was bleeding. So the police said his body seems to be fresh that time. It was September 21 when the police found him, and it was September 24 when we learned about the news. So we asked around if someone saw what happened to my brother, and then at first we heard someone who saw my brother with a different person, someone hitchhiked on his motorcycle. But after that, those persons who were saying things about my brother, like saying those potential witness, suddenly went silent. We can't even contact them. So we can see that people are really afraid to get involved. So, like Ate Jane's story, like his husband, my brother, also have no local case. We can't file a case because we have no witness. People are afraid to speak. So how are we going to file a case even if it's just in the local court? So it's been 7 years and we're still talking, joining different activities, doing testimonies, both here in the Philippines, and the other mothers even went to a different country internationally to tell our stories, and still there's no justice. But we're hopeful that someday, with our efforts, with the family's efforts, with the efforts of people like you, with the international community, we know that someday we will be able to get the justice that we want. Everyone who's involved in the killings, those who pulled the trigger, those who orchestrated this systematic killing, those who engineered this program where they're going to kill, and never give medical help to those who are victims of drug abuse. I know someday justice will be served, and like what we're always saying, mananagot ang dapat managot. They will pay someday. I know we will see them in courts and in jails convicted. So we believe that the time will come, if we keep on speaking, if we keep on talking about our family, about our fellow Filipino, if the international community will never stop listening to us, will keep on believing, and will keep on speaking about our stories. Without the efforts of the Rise Up and the international community, we won't reach the International Criminal Court. And right now, so there are also times that we feel hopeless. Like yesterday, I was walking when I received the invitation days ago. I was walking and I had this thought, here we go again. I am going to speak again. Until how long am I going to do this? Am I going to live this lifetime talking about my brother, talking about how much we're impacted with the drug court? But then I told myself, I can never stop talking about this. I see myself with Rise Up. I always see myself with the international community, local and international community. I can never imagine a place not doing this. I can never imagine my life not speaking about my brother and the other families. And I know that all of our efforts will put into something. Their life will always be remembered if we keep on talking about them. So to give, it's like giving another life to my brother by always speaking about him, telling people about his name, about how we were left, about he also have 2 kids that time, and the youngest one is not even 1 year old when he died. So his kids are also with him. They're already asking, what happened to my dad? What happened to our dad? Well, bakit may gunshot wound si daddy? Bakit may bullet? They're asking, why does he have a bullet in his head? So I don't know how to answer a child those questions, but someday it will become clear to them. And I know people like you, will will also stand with them. They know that I know someday I will have some stories to tell them that don't worry, you also have your kakampi or people who believes in you, people who will stand with you. So they won't be afraid to stand for their father as well, to seek justice for their father as well, because they know that we have a really large community who believes in our story and in our struggle. Um, it's been years, and I know we still have a long journey to go. Like ICC might take 10 years, 20 years, just like what Attorney Mary said, but we will never stop until we reach that light on the edge of the tunnel. Someday, we will get justice for all the victims of extrajudicial killing. I know someday, justice will be served. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Diori Pasco, the son of the mother of my two sons who were killed in 2017. May 12 was their 7th year death anniversary, and yesterday was the birthday of the elder brother. So I visit cemetery, and then I brought flowers and candles for remembering them, remembering my two sons who were killed, and also greeting my eldest son on his, I think it's 40th something's birthday. Sometimes I forget already what is his age, because I am very busy with the activities also in Rise Up. So I only want to tell a short story about what happened to my son. They were lost May 11, 2017, and then we found them the other after 2 days, May 12, 2017. Also here in Quezon City, the vicinity only in Quezon City, Arboretum. If someone, maybe some of you know the place. And it happened that we also heard in the news that they were accused of robbery. So when they accused of robbery, the victim, according to the news, the victim seek the help of the police, and then it so happened that the policemen passed by, so they ran after my two sons, and then after chasing my two sons, they caught, and then they were found dead at the Arboretum in Quezon City. That was the pronouncement of the police, and they pronounced also as it is a legal police operation. So when you lost a child, one child, or when you just lost a puppy, of course you will be very sad. But losing two sons is very difficult. Sorry. And every time that we speak, I cannot avoid crying. But of course, when I speak, I said that when you cry, of course you will be becoming brave enough to speak. So that was the time, 2017. We did not also file the case here in the Philippines because we do not have a witness or an evidence on what's happened because we just found we just found my two sons already dead. And the very worst thing is we found very, very difficult times when I claim my children at the funeral homes because they ask us to pay big amount, and that was the time that we don't have or we have nothing to pay. And also that was the time that we seek the help of church people, and the first one to help us was Rise Up. And so that was also the time when I joined Rise Up, 2017. And luckily, we get my children at the funeral with a lesser amount, and then we gave my son a decent burial. But of course, very difficult ways that we had passed. So after that, we filed a case. I am one of the victim who filed the case at the ICC because that time we were only 8 families, but now we are already 10 because we have 2 added families filed at the ICC, and we are very happy because 2018 the decision of the ICC that former President Duterte has really had a crime against humanity. And then until now, we keep on pursuing the case, and we are praying that someday soon justice will be served or a warrant of arrest as well. So we are praying for that, and then we are also thankful to our lawyers, UPL lawyers, because they are the one who help us without anything that we can give. Very difficult, very hard, very very hard in our heart, but of course we have to continue. We have to continue fighting because if we won't fight. Who will fight? So we are the mothers, the sisters, and the relatives as well who are continuing to fight, and we are very thankful for you who are also spreading our stories around the world. And I am also the one who went to United Nations on Human Rights 2020, and then we went back in 2022 just to lobby to different international community to spread our stories, not only my stories, but the stories of all the families who were victims of this EGK. So, how long, and we know that it's very, very hard. It's a very long journey, but we are hoping that someday soon, justice will be served. Thank you very much.
So we will give you some brochures of what Rise Up is. So maybe this is the moment of reaction, reflection, or questions? We'll be asking Mong to facilitate.
Okay, so questions, clarifications. Yes, Joe.
The United States also has a war on drugs, and it didn't come about accidentally. That in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they shut down thousands of factories because of globalization, where they opened up factories around the world, shut them down in the U.S. That meant poverty was reverberating throughout, especially black and brown communities. So Reagan began a war on drugs, and at the same time, they flooded the communities with drugs and guns. And many people, before 1980, there were only 200,000 people in jails in the United States. Today, there are over 2 million people in jails in the United States. It was a unemployment policy. They didn't want these people on the streets, so they used drugs and guns as an excuse to put people in prison. I guess my question, what is this happening? What's the context of this program that Duterte started? Is there a wider reason that this happened?
Okay, before he became president in 2016, he was mayor for 3 decades in Davao City. And he made a name for himself by claiming that he addressed crime, he addressed the peace and order problem in Davao by his Dirty Harry approach in dealing with criminals. So Davao has this notorious death squad involved with extrajudicial killings. And Duterte was mayor of this city. So when he campaigned for president in 2016, that was his campaign promise. He will kill the drug suspects, the drug pushers, the drug cartel leaders. And a few days after the election, when it was evident that he will become president, that's when the killing started, even before he became president. So that's a cue. The incoming commander-in-chief sending this directive to police and soldiers. So the bloodbath, the daily spectacle of dead bodies took place in 2016 and 2017. And Duterte ended his term with him admitting that his drug war was a failure. It didn't end the drug menace. But what did he accomplish in his brutal war on drugs? Maybe ending the drug problem was not really the objective. His real intent is to instill fear among people, normalize the overkill deployment of police in communities, make it justifiable for the government to rely on the police in its governance. And if you create fear among people, if you instill fear among the political rivals, that is his way of consolidating power. Because his approach is not just to kill drug suspects, but to accuse his enemies, political rivals, of being involved with drug cartels. Look his accusation against the incumbent president, accusing him of being a drug addict. And then during the bloodbath, during those 2 years, it was evident that it was not really a war on drugs. It's a war on the poor, because those being killed are in the urban poor communities, and most of the victims are not drug pushers. but drug suspects. No? So what Duterte did was to weaponize the bureaucracy, weaponize the police, create this list of drug suspects, and then you have a bounty for the police. They have a reward every time they will produce this number of dead bodies. So this anti-drug war campaign became Duterte's way of consolidating control in the bureaucracy. But 2 years later, he admitted his drug war was a failure. And look now, his son, the mayor of Davao City, recently was accused of reviving again this hardline approach in dealing with drugs.
Until now, on Marcos administration, there are lots of drugs in our community. So yung tao lang yung nabawasan, not the drugs. And I saw my neighbors, I saw in other places that drugs is normal.
Okay. Yes.
Did Duterte use the drug war to also target activists and organizers?
That is part of the rhetoric against activists. But the methods in the anti-drug war were also used. So you have, for example, Duterte and the police demonizing drug suspects. The equivalent in the campaign against the communist movement is to demonize activism, demonize revolutionary groups. And then you will have state agents, government officials coming up with a list of drug suspects. The same also in the government's approach in dealing with the communist movement, with its list of so-called enemies of the state. So if you're demonized, if your commander-in-chief is accusing you of being an enemy of the state, maybe for some people that is funny, because that is how Duterte speaks, but that is not how the police will interpret the word of the commander-in-chief. That is the commander-in-chief indirectly telling the police that these are the enemies of the state, and you have the support of the state in eliminating these threats to national security. So that is the multiplier effect of Duterte's rhetoric, the dangerous consequences of his rhetoric against drug suspects and against activists. Let me clarify, drug suspects, they make no distinction between a drug user and a drug pusher. That is one problem with our law. If you are found in possession of drugs, you are automatically lumped. You are being seen as part of the drug cartel. Unlike in other countries, I think they have the distinction of habitual drug user or occasional drug user. But in the case of the Philippines, that is under Duterte enough proof for you to be arrested or killed, and also for the corrupt police. That is their way of making money. If you do not want to end up being in the drug list, that's corruption issue as well.
Are there still extrajudicial killings happening to this day?
Okay, so Marcos, when he became president, was really conscious from the start to rehabilitate the family image. In the international community, the Marcoses are known as plunderers, those who were ousted and they have ill-gotten wealth. So he spent the past 2 years going around the world with his junket trips, presenting himself as different from Duterte. Maybe that is true, the way he speaks, the way he conducts himself in public is really different from Duterte. He does not verbally abuse critics. But the truth is, he is continuing Duterte's discredited policies. The counterinsurgency program, the economic program, and also the drug campaign. So here in UP, they have one institution here, Third World Study Center, the HAS. And they are monitoring drug-related killings. And what they found out was there is at least one drug-related killing every day under Marcos. Low-key, not high-profile, unlike Duterte, but drug-related killings are continuing. Extrajudicial killings, targeting activists, drug-related killings, they still remain a problem. But in his public statements, for example, a few weeks ago, there was a large shabu confiscation by the police. And what did Marcos tell the media? Oh, no shot was fired, no one was killed. This is the correct approach in the drug war. So he has two objectives in that statement. It is one an indirect allusion to Duterte's brutal method, and second, that his policy is different. No, that is his way of assuring the international community that I have a different approach in dealing with the drug problem. Okay?
But he might having this different approach, but it does not erase the atrocities and the crime of Duterte. So he is as well responsible if he would not act upon this ICC thing. And whether ICC or other courts or public courts, he should do something. If there is really a better approach, then the best approach is make Duterte responsible and accountable. So the problem with Duterte was that they conditioned the people that it's okay to kill until it became a byword. So we become accustomed, oh, another person was killed, another person is killed there, and then sometimes they make jokes out of it. The conditioning and the normalization that it is okay to kill until every activist in the street or every progressive person is to be killed or being killed, normal. Okay lang, kasi kaaway naman. Okay lang because they are enemies. So this public conditioning has so much influence in public acceptability that killings are okay. And in a society where there is wanting of social services, people will have no other option but to do also in the anti-social activities. We have children's camp, you notice, we have children's camp, youth camp, and then we notice at the age of 8, the boy could not even spell his own name. That means very poor. We don't have access to education. If we have access at all, it will be there's lesser quality. So if you have this kind, multiplied many times to many children living in urban poor community where their fathers and parents do not have job, do not have work, do not have decent salary and pay, what else can we expect from them? So this conditioning, one, this mental and cultural conditioning, and then the socio-economic situation is the breeding ground where there's addiction. And then you will kill them because they are poor. And then they have no access to social justice. If not for our lawyers, the National Union of People's Lawyers, they admit, one of the mothers be saying, we know that there should be a court on this, but we do not know what to do because we don't have access to socio-economic services. So you don't have access to economic services. You don't know what our human rights are. And you think that what they are doing are correct. Until they learn also from our seminars that we have rights. And then when we had an exercise of these rights, know your rights. During the time when the police came to them, marched to their house, and then, where's your warrant of arrest, search warrant? And then what the policeman said? What did the policeman say? We don't have warrant here, so they have the authority. And then we will being asked again, Ate Norma, Ate Rubilin, we know these rights. But the policemen would still barge in our house, and then they would not respect us. So what's the value here? is that when the people are united and they will speak up, and then there will be public opinion also that will be saying this is wrong, and then we are being violated, then there will be more strength and more courage to speak up and to fight for our rights. So we became, and I think we have the courage and we have the power to believe, because the mothers here have so much power to believe that justice must be served.
Let me also add that the number of drug killings could be higher, because we have cases where the only way that the family can retrieve the body of the drug war victim from the funeral parlor is to agree that the cause of death is not gunshot wound, but pneumonia, heart attack. So that means the number of drug-related killings could be higher, because if it is gunshot wound, that is something that the police should investigate. But if the family would accept that the cause of death is something else, like pneumonia or heart attack, that's the only way for them to retrieve the body. Okay, 2 questions.
It seemed to me that when you're talking about Duarte giving the police sort of the authority to be judge, jury, and executioner, right? How do you pull that back? Once you've given the police that kind of power, they have their own agendas sometimes, and they may have an enemy that they want to go after. Has nothing to do with Duarte, but he's already given them the power to do that. The other is, I just wanted to say, your stories moved me to tears. I lost a child, so I know what it's like to lose a child. And I think you're very brave to speak out. It's so important. And I'm glad that you went to to the criminal courts, and I hope and pray for you that you get justice for that. I want to thank you for your voices. Thank you.
So to briefly answer the question, that's the level of impunity that we are dealing with. So the ICC is one venue to seek justice, but at the same time, there are small victories that we can cite. For example,